WPwatercooler. We're so close to 300. It's awesome.
Getting
300 will be like in February or March.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how math works.
So I just want to let you know before we begin here that this particular episode is brought to you by Desktop Server and ServerPress. So make sure you go to our website at serverpress.com and learn all about Desktop Server over there. All right, let's go and introduce ourselves real quick. Let's see here. You know, it's so weird because it's all in different directions now. We'll just start with Steve. Steve, your last name is Z and it starts with Z.
I'm never first.
Never.
I'm gonna let you go first, dude.
Yeah.
No, the first shall be last and the last shall be.
I am Steve Zengen. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive. I run the OC WordPress meetup.
I messed up the sorting order, you know, whatever. You know, we're sorting by menu order.
I'm still Gryffindor.
How about you, George? Tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm George Stefanis. I work on Jetpack, building all sorts of random shiny things. And unlike, say, I am a Ravenclaw.
That would be my alternate. But really, the apps, you know, they're
you're a Gryffindor, a Ravendor. Okay.
I'm by house.
By house you all. Okay. Anyway, I am phoning in from Austin, Texas. Beautiful Austin, Texas, as we are here for a meetup this week. Until I go home tomorrow, back to the land of frozen snow in Pennsylvania, where they had like 6 to 8 inches yesterday.
Oh my goodness!
I like your kitchen backdrop.
Yes, I'm sitting in a sink right now.
It looks like he's on like food TV, right? And he's about ready to cook something for us.
Great.
Kevin, it's your first time. Tell us about yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin Marshall, and I am the creator of something called Shop Magic, which is a WooCommerce automation plugin. And I'm out of Phoenix, Arizona today, and usually. And,
don't mind her.
I'm here for this. I've only been in Phoenix for a few months, just still settling in, but I'm loving the weather now. It's like perfect weather, so it's supposed to.
That's awesome. Well, it's good to have you on here, Kevin. How about you, Say? How about you? Tell us about yourself.
I'm Say Reed. I make WordPress, teach WordPress. I like that. Is in our broadcast, are we all equal size now? Like it's not like big face. It's all like always. I actually really like that.
Speaker view.
That's nice.
Okay. Anyway, I like that. I do stuff with WordPress. I have been just all up in WordPress as always, but more so than usual lately. I feel like. Do you ever feel like you guys get meta with the work that you do? Like you're just like, what am I like? So much of this computer work is so conceptual, and then teaching is conceptual, and it's like I feel like everything I do is imaginary inside my head.
I don't know, Say. Sometimes I get mad at the work I do, but.
Hey, George is on it.
The dad jokes are strong with this one.
Routine real quick. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, Jason.
Tucker.blog.
Whoops.
I also do a show called WP Blab. Feel free to go take a look at that. We talk about social media marketing stuff with WordPress. That happens on Thursdays, and we're doing it all through this thing. And just so you know, we're streaming live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as on Periscope. So,
what?
You know, if your mom's using any of these things,
I was going to say, is it still a thing?
One of these days, you're going to have to say that at the beginning of the show, so I remember, because I'm like, oh right, people might actually.
I'm not doing that. So, you know, while your mom is looking at political posts on Twitter, she can at least now see your face show up and go, whoa.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm worried about.
Fake news.
That's kind of what I'm worried about. That was actually pretty good, George.
Very good.
Will we be able to get a Vine of this too, maybe?
Oh yeah, we could totally do Vines.
I was just talking about different technology.
Doing 6-second chunks.
We can Snapchat the entire thing in 10-second chunks.
A summary.
No,
15-second chunks.
Oh, is it 15?
Okay.
We're also broadcasting to Friendster.
Before we lose ourselves in the banter of No Tomorrow, which is the place where we live.
Yeah,
that's the name of my new band, The Banter of No Tomorrow. That's our secret band. I was intrigued by Kevin's words and description of anything that incorporates magic. I'm like, do tell. What do you mean by magic? Right. So, and you know, WooCommerce is like kind of a thing. It's a thing. So, I kind of want to hear more about that. What about y'all?
Cool.
Sounds good. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
I'll just give you a quick
thumb off.
Give us a bunch of shameless plugs.
There's my nose. Whoop.
quick rundown of it. I got into it because I ran a pretty successful e-commerce store a few years ago. It was start off as a side project, and it kind of just blew up in the dental space. So it took me by surprise. And
In
what
the
I
dental
realized
space?
in the dental space, yeah, we sold dental.
Like these things?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
your teeth. Yes.
And I'm not a dentist, but my wife is.
I play one on.
I play one on TV,
business.
and now I know more about dentistry than I ever thought I would ever want to or need to know. And so I'm a little dangerous now. So don't ask me about teeth, because I might actually get you in trouble. I know just enough.
Not to stop you on that, but I just want to say that I think dentists and people who work with teeth are some of the most difficult to market in terms of imagery, because you really have the question of, are we showcasing the problem or the solution? And if you showcase the problem, people are like, oh God.
Always,
you know, in that case. And then you do the solution, it's a bunch of shiny, happy people, and then it's like very stock photography. So to be able to strike authenticity, that's a hard balance, I found.
No,
that's
a good point.
Any medical ads I see on Facebook where they're showcasing the problem, I just report it.
Get
that off of my feed.
Don't do that.
You guys were watching the show last night. Last night on WP Blab, we were talking about this sort of thing, this idea of marketing intents and how you get people to actually
intent,
not marketing in cabins or hotel rooms. It has to be in a tent.
The intent of marketing and how you go about marketing to those folks, and what do you do first? You talk about one versus the other, and it's interesting how you go about marketing for a dentistry. That has to be pretty.
Well, it's quite clear. You just need to be very energetic, very intense about it.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could go off on that. Anyway, so we did the
by the way, this is the show for that. Like, if you're like, I could go off on that, we're generally going to be like,
I could talk about dentistry for the next, 30 minutes. No, I actually, I love dentistry. I hated dentists as a child. I had a terrible phobia of it, and then I married one, and suddenly I'm like, now I'm just like, oh, cool, I'm going to the dentist to get a root canal. Great. So that's a good progression of my life. But anyway, we started an e-commerce store, and I realized that at the time, it was like 2014, there really wasn't a lot of marketing automation out there that I liked for WooCommerce. There was some stuff, and it's gotten a lot better since then. But I started to just build my own app for it and plugin for it, basically, in WooCommerce. And after seeing how effective it was, I just decided, let's make this into a product and put it out there. So nice. That's what we were doing. And honestly, it's more just, it's kind of a passion project. It's like all the money that there's a pro version, and all the money that we make from it goes right back into the development and making it better, because we're so far from where we want to be with it. So. But we're trying to create a little community of people who like it and who want to, see new features and stuff added to it and make it work for our business. Right now, we're spending a lot of time on building up the cart abandonment stuff and offering special coupons. If let's say you have somebody who abandons their cart. You can time an email to go out at a certain sequence of emails to hit them, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, and then gives them some time. So that's the stuff that we're working on right now. Obviously, it creates like custom coupons that are unique for a customer, let's say, and then it gives them.
Sorry, I was just gonna say. So your competitor would be Automate Woo.
Probably, yeah.
In that same space, kind of.
Yeah, they're probably the biggest ones out there.
We're fair and balanced here, just saying.
Yeah, fair and balanced.
You thought it was going to be a shameless plug, and then I was like,
sorry.
Let me talk about all of your competitors.
I was just listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy was on Ninja Forms, and he was like, why did you create Ninja Forms right around the time that Gravity Forms was out? And he was just like, because we wanted to. And he was like, everyone told us it was a bad idea, and then we just did it because we enjoyed it, and suddenly it took its own direction. So I think it's the same kind of thing. Like, there's stuff that they do that they're really focused on, and we're finding stuff that we really are gonna find interesting, and customers are asking for really specific things, and we're gonna build those out for them. But it's sort of at a place where if people just want some simple automation for free, they can just install it and just use it and enjoy it. So.
Oh, so you have your freemium.
It's a freemium, yeah.
You're in the repo.
You can just download it at the repo, yeah. But I think they're
repo.
they're a great product, and like I have to say, I mean, if I had known about them when I started my store, I probably wouldn't even built Shop Magic. So
Go get it from the repo man.
I think it's great to see different solutions happen. I mean, that's where market innovation comes from, right?
Yeah,
when there's
everybody has a different take on stuff, you know. So.
And then there can be poor decisions that are made in software. That's happened.
It's like, okay, folks, listen, mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made and forks were taken.
Right.
Start on the classic press train again, say.
I'm not on any classic press. You brought that here. You might be projecting a little. I'm just saying. It might be reflective. Are you having a baby and going to name it Gutenberg? Is that what's happening?
I swear I've got some forks around here somewhere.
No, so I think it's really great. How do you? I've been actually, I've been, as longtime listeners of the show will know, I started out.
Callers.
Yeah, I was in the early days. How long ago was that? 300 episodes ago. I was like
it's like 2-3 months ago.
You should be, you should absolutely be not dependent on plugins. They're not dependable. They're not reliable. Build your own stuff. That was me in like 2012. And now my focus has totally switched because I work to build handoffable things to people.
Is that a word?
Is now.
It is now.
And you can put it in your strategic plan. So to make something that is handoffable, comes with the support from those various plugins, can keep, when things like Gutenberg happens, if I've rolled all my own custom fields, then, I'm screwed. If I've used, ACF and they've got a development team building Gutenberg, I don't have to worry about it, and neither do those clients. So that's been my approach. I don't know where I was going with that. There was a point somewhere.
Well, handoffable. So the idea is that you can at least hand it off to somebody else, and the support will still be there.
Right. Exactly.
And the solutions that you picked all kind of they won't just die because you no longer are touching the code.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so also, though, I've been doing a lot of looking at how people handle their feature requests for their clients. So it's like, okay, is this software responsive to what its clients are asking for, or is it just like on its own path? So you're saying that you're really responding to your clients and customers' needs and stuff. And I'm wondering, this is where you're going with this, how do you track that?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we were just thinking about this the other day, and one model that I want to follow that I really like is I use a software called Help Monks as sort of like our support ticket system.
Help Monks.
Help Monks, which is a great little software, and what I love about them is they put their entire, it's like a mix of feature requests / development roadmap on Trello, just as an open public board. And so that's something that we're thinking about doing, is maybe doing a Gravity form on our site to feed into that. Or at least to feed into a staging board that we could then
zap it over there.
Yeah, so that people can submit a request, and then we can actually take that card and put it out there and just say, hey, everybody, this is what we're going to be working on. So people who follow that board can just check out, okay, good, they took my idea and they're going to be using it and all that stuff. So
well, and then if you have that board and you can direct clients who come with that same question, they can add on to that and develop out that feature for you. They're like, you know what else would be great with this is if you did this. And then you're like, oh, thanks. We'll just build that then. Thanks for figuring that out. I mean, they're the ones using it. So creating a method for them to tell you what they need that makes, that's trackable for you.
Right. To see where it is. Yeah. So that's something that I think I want to do. We don't have that right now, but I was looking at it's a very big Trello board. They have, they have every date that they've done a major release as a column, which I thought was interesting. And so you can really go through like the past 3 years and just see like all these big updates that they pushed out, which is pretty amazing. I do love Trello for that reason. It's really simple looking, but very powerful. So we're thinking maybe that would be good, because we really want, like you say, we want people to feel like they're involved in the creation of the product, not just.
And the value of that for you. Like, that's my point. Like their buy-in is valuable, and their opinions are valuable. Like that's a focus group on each Trello card.
Yeah, and when you update it and it says so and so wanted to have this particular feature added, and it was added the next version, you're like, look,
right.
the feature you wanted was added. We're actually listening to you, and we're listening to all the rest of our customers.
Well, that's the type of stuff.
That thing we actually did because you asked us to do it. Pay us money.
Well, and that's what I've been looking for with, even just in the WordPress repo. Is there, that's one of the things I tell people to look for in plugins and stuff. Like, is there a mechanism for which you can have that other than like, maybe paid support of some sort, but like, is there a way for you to contribute? Is there a way for it to improve? Like, where are they going with this thing? The roadmap.
Well, I mean, I guess that would be technically the forums right now are the best you can do with that, right? And for the plugin, I should say. And yeah, it's not the best. There could be better ways of handling requests like that.
I'm with George though, in that you can definitely utilize your freemium model to your advantage, because you can take the free version of it, and the most critical things that you need to add can be added to the product. And then when these like more specialized versions of features that want to be added can be added to the pro version of it. And then you can do pretty much like what ACF finally does, is they went, okay, well, we're just going to make both versions the same. Now everybody's on the same page. Now we can start building up again. Because I think at some point, those forks need to merge to a point where you can at least say, okay, our product is now the same across the whole board and no one's being treated one way or the other. And now we can actually start building up from there again. Because
I actually think WooCommerce could do from a little bit of a tightening like that. There, it's market extension marketplace has gotten a little like core featurey a little bit. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes I feel like that those are things that when you start seeing, and if you have this line of communication, then you can see that where people are like, this should just be included. Like if people start to feel like this is just like a core functionality, or if it's a core functionality in another software that they're making a direct comparison to, like at some point, maybe you do need to merge that into the core as a,
absolutely.
like what we do.
It's hard to know
we're doing with WordPress.
And so I've been getting that too, is a lot of feedback I've been getting, because we have a little feedback form that you can fill out in the plugin optionally. And so I'm getting a lot of people saying this should be core, this should be core. And so now for some features, I'm just like, yeah, I guess, the public has spoken. This is what they want in there. At the beginning, as a developer, you're always like, there's like I don't know. I mean, I got to give them some reason to want to donate to the cause and put that in there. But honestly, I feel like people are much more, if you've been willing to give them a really great product for free, they're much more happy to donate and support the cause. I've had people that don't even want the pro features, but just like the product, and so they're like, yeah, I want to support that. So I think giving people the benefit of the doubt is the way to go with that stuff. And
I think you can learn a lot from WordPress, in that WordPress is really good at saying no about these sorts of things, because there are plenty of times people go like, man, I really wish that this social media login thing was part of core. And you're like, that's cool, but not everyone uses that. Right. Or, oh, I really wish this did this. And you're like, yeah, that's cool, but it would require us to write a whole bunch of other things to make these new things work with another extension or another plugin.
And also a lot of extensibility in core would, like if we were to do social media login, that would require each site to have its own separate API keys for like Twitter or Facebook or whatever, which nobody wants to set up.
Well, no, and that stuff changes all the time. So anything that has an inherent dependency, I think that's really the line of
plugin territory.
Yeah, like if it's like connected to something else, external. And in terms of like the freemium model, I think that their customization and support is really like, that's, people are like, want to be able to use the whole thing. And if they, if they can use it, and then they're like, oh, but I also want it to be a square button, and I want someone to tell me how to set this up. Like, I'll pay for that on a monthly basis. Like, I feel like that's where, especially my small business clients are usually willing to onboard. Or like what Asana does, which is like completely free, use a bunch of the huge features on the bottom. And then if you want to add more people and start, once you've built it to a certain, same with MailChimp, right? Once you've built your list to 2,000 people, you're not going to stop using MailChimp. You know what I mean? Once you've built your Asana up and you're like, wow, this is great. I'm at 4 people and I want this person to be able to see this list. So guess I gotta, it's worth it now. So like, I feel like if you build in your own quality use, people like if your client is growing and they're using your product to grow their business, they're always going to want more stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone's always inventing new stuff. There's always going to be a new thing to add on that you're.
Or heck, if you're using Slack, when you hit those 5,000 messages, suddenly you have that 5,000 message investment to keep incentivizing you to actually pay for it.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's great because you can, and the people who drop off or stay at a low thing, like,
they're not costing money resources to do. So
right.
Yeah. And going back to the Slack thing, if you don't use the search in Slack, then no harm, no foul. Just continue to use it for free. But if you really start seeing that you are beginning to use that, well, you may want to throw a couple bucks out their way and make sure it's, you have a paid version of it.
Yeah.
I love buying plugins. I mean, I'll find that I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I really want that. And then it's like, I don't end up using it sometimes. And it's just, but I guess it's like shopping, you're just like, people love it. Like, some people buy shoes and you buy plugins. Exactly. I just love it. I have way too many plugins I've bought and I'm like, I don't like that one anymore. I'm going to go with this one instead. But it was a fun experience. So I think developers need to remember that, people are much more willing to pay for stuff that they see as cool and appreciate. I like the idea of the Jetpack. I mean, I think that's a great way of also handling what WordPress has done in the sense of like not bogging down the platform with tons of features that not everyone's going to use and making it slow and sluggish. I love that about WordPress is that here's still free features. Go ahead and install this and we'll install a bunch of features with this, but it's a totally opt-in thing, which is great.
And then each individual feature can be toggled on or off as you need it.
Yeah.
So.
Which is
and all you need to do is write LaTeX, then just install that and flip the switch and you're good to go. And if you need to be able to do some type of
latex. Okay.
Latex? What are you talking about? or a contact form or any of those sorts of things. If you don't want to have to turn all that stuff on, you can just turn on the one you need and you're good to go. So I think you're definitely right.
I think this is also
like that. It's like the pro version of adding additional features onto WordPress without having to install.
It's freemium.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a freemium model. I mean, basically, Jetpack's freemium.
Yeah.
Just freemium.
It's like a freemium.
But honestly, what I used to be before WordPress, I was heavily into Drupal, and hard to use the word. Let me tell you, it's so much better. No,
who invited this guy?
What I
thought
that
was a secret word, but
I know I knew it myself. Throw a bomb in. What I found was that they were so hardcore about there not being any commerce involved in the platform, and I understand there was Joomla before, which was a totally junky commerce. Every feature was paid for. So Drupal comes along and it's like, let's do this thing. Everything is going to be free. And then they would put, you would have to build all your plugin on top of 5 others. And the nightmare of developing and maintenance on that platform, because everybody's plugins were dependent on everyone else's for like half of the features.
I don't want to be dependent on anyone else's crappy code.
I would spend hours like, okay, it's just like you pull one direction and the whole thing would start to fall down and pull back. It's like it was never stable. It was always a disaster.
Like installing NPM modules, basically.
Right. Yeah, just so that you could. And honestly, when I came to WordPress, it was like, oh, I'll pay $30 and it'll just work, and it just does it. There's no, and everything's sort of. Still
most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Do that. But after Drupal,
actually, I revised that
quite a bit.
Occasionally.
Occasionally. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Unless you go deep repo. Then
on the dark
web.
So thinking about
plugins off the dark web.
Is there a WordPress dark web that I don't know about, like a plugin repo that?
Yeah, there's some
Avengers.
Look, just because something has a warning sign on it doesn't mean it's not in the repo, because there is some old stuff in the repo. Like, let's be real. Like, there is
stuff in the repo that still works. Has not been updated in 6 years and it's perfect.
I know, but
Like Pinkify.
It should get a new badge. But
like hello Dolly, thank you very much.
Hey, I hear that has an active development team.
Wow.
It's
yeah,
like
his name is Matt.
Yeah, he hasn't been busy, right? He's just got plenty of time for the.
But is it Gutenberg
like over
compatible?
there.
That's what I'm
He's
curious
over there
about here.
working on Hello Dolly.
Yeah, I think you're actually adding a Guten block to it.
Really?
Hello Dolly.
I have no
Drop a
idea.
Hello
I'm just
Dolly?
making things up at this point.
Drop a Hello Dolly right on your front page of your site.
That is super freaking great.
That being said, I'm actually gonna do a pull request to Hello Dolly to do that now.
Can you? Like now, is it on a get? I want to go see when the last time it got pulled was. Like, is it active? What's happening with that?
I don't know.
That could be a
We're gonna
great
make
birthday present for Matt. You like kind of make a Guten block for Hello Dolly. You should totally do that at your thing. Like, and get
now I hope that Matt isn't watching this.
Why would he watch this?
I hope Matt's watching this. I'm gonna add him on Twitter.
Nobody tweet him, okay? You hear me? Nobody tell him.
No one's watching this.
That's
fair.
I can't help because I haven't dived into the Guten block.
No, I'm gonna build it this afternoon.
I think you should build it, and then that I think it's on my calendar for some reason. I'm really not sure why, but every so often it pops up. I think he's in Aquarius. You know, honestly, that sounds super stalkery, but like it's not. I promise.
Well, look at this high.
Wow.
I want to say thank you very much for all you folks for watching us on Twitter, watching us on Facebook and YouTube and all that fun stuff. Thank you very much. And make sure you go over to our sponsor over at desktopserver.com and check out ServerPress's stuff, or serverpress.com rather, desktop server. So
they listen to their people.